Hi, and welcome to another session of this year's Nugget. I'm Mark Quevedo, a developer support engineer for Retrace here at Netreo. I'll be talking about how to create highly effective monitors, alerts, and notifications in Retrace. Before we proceed, and just a reminder, if you have any questions about my session, feel free to drop them in our chat box and I'll be happy to answer them. So why bother monitor? And why Retrace? Let me answer this by saying that while software testing and QA can identify bugs and issues during development, it cannot always guarantee a 100% failure-free app when released. Some errors just make a habit of appearing out of nowhere until the app is deployed into production. It's also not always about errors. Components that an app rely on can fail. These are primarily the reasons why monitoring is crucial in any software's life cycle. We begin by looking at monitors in Retrace. Monitors are practically everywhere in Retrace and are available for almost every type of data collected. Data collected in monitors are presented in a line graph plotted over time. By default, data for the last 4 hours are plotted in the graph, but you can also select other preset times in the list. You have the last hour, you have the last 24 hours, or even 30 days. You can also choose a custom range according to the data you need. With this kind of information, monitors become essential tools for investigating cases or even as a basis for benchmarking purposes. In Retrace, monitors are generally categorized into 3 types. We have application-specific monitors, device monitors, and other resource monitors. Let's have a look at application-specific monitors. This type of monitor shows up in the Applications Monitoring tab, or otherwise known as the App Instances and Resources view. The view initially shows 3 sections, namely the servers, the key transactions, and the errors. The servers section lists all instances where the app is running, along with the monitors associated with the devices. We can see CPU percentage, memory used, even the disk parameters. Certain apps, such as those hosted on IIS, will also have specific monitors for the app pool. The next section, Key Transactions, groups together requests or transactions marked as important, allowing a quicker way of viewing performance stats such as requests per minute, satisfaction score, error percentage, and average load time. By default, stats for all requests combined are shown. In addition to requests, SQL transactions collected as part of APM data can also be added as a key transaction. Let me show you how to mark a request as a key transaction. You first need to go to the APM or the performance view. And then it depends whether you can already see the requests that you want to mark as important, or you can head over to the Server Requests tab, which will show you all of their other requests. Clicking on the request that you want to mark as a key transaction will bring up this view, along with the option to mark it as a key transaction. Once this is selected, you will be presented with this view, allowing you to configure various thresholds. We will talk more about thresholds in a while. Once this is saved and added, it will now show up under the Key Transactions section. And there we have it. The next section, the errors, shows the error rates of the app in errors per minute and errors received in the last 60 minutes. The list isn't limited to the 3 default sections, and other sections may show up as other resource monitors are associated with the app. Let's go now to the other general category of monitor, the server monitors. Retrace is also capable of basic server monitoring and will already show a couple of device-related monitors out of the box. Let's have a look at one of the servers and see what monitors we have for it. We can see here different monitors such as CPU percentage, memory use, even monitors for disk and network. All of these monitors are configured via monitoring templates. Server monitoring templates are managed by going to the settings up here and then selecting monitoring templates. Templates allow different monitoring configurations between devices. For example, you might want certain monitors to show up in a production environment, while some monitors may not be necessary at all in lower environments. Monitoring templates are split into Linux and Windows types. They differ in a way that some monitors are only available in one type and not in the other. For example, Java Ambient monitors are only available in the Linux template, while in Windows, performance counters are specific to it. One can assign a notification group and select the servers that would apply the current template. We'll talk about notification groups shortly. So far, we have covered 2 categories: the monitors specific to application performance and health, and server monitors. Now we talk about resource monitors. This type covers monitors that aren't tied to any app or server by default and include SQL query checks, website checks, message queues, and log query checks. Let's have a look at each of those monitors. First, website checks. Website monitors are simply health checks that monitors exact HTTP response and response times of sites that are accessible by any Retrace agent, whether it's from our platform or from one of your servers. So we have here a couple of samples doing health checks for defined sites. We capture the response time and even the status code. Next up is the SQL queries. SQL query monitors or SQL query checks are similar to website health checks in a way that it executes a user-defined query from a Retrace agent to a user-provided database server and returns data such as duration and a result check. Next, we have log query checks. This is mainly used to check for log events collected in Retrace that aren't typically available in collected APM data. One can possibly set this monitor to watch out for system or service events that would signify a problem. Lastly, we have message queue monitors. This monitor is important if your apps deal with message queues, knowing if messages are being consumed or are just piling up in the queue. It can collect data such as queue count, consumer count, publish rate, among others. Since this type of monitor aims to cover resources that are used by an app, it would make sense to tie it up with any monitored app in Retrace. So let's head back to the list of web apps and try to add one of those monitors or associate them with an existing app. So this is done by going to the app instances and resources view. And then select resources and then add new. Then you can see here those monitors that I have just mentioned. Once you hit on save, the resource monitor will now show up as part of the monitoring page. So Retrace maximizes the use of these monitors by firing up alerts when certain values are reported. These values or thresholds are typically user-defined and are best used to indicate an event requiring user attention. Alerts come in 3 severities. We have warning, critical, and outage. Each can be defined with thresholds that are interpreted according to your own use case. A warning alert could mean a potential failure that is about to happen. A critical severity could be imminent failure that could happen in a matter of minutes. And lastly, an outage could be set with a threshold value that signify an ongoing failure. Monitors that have alerts will also have indicators or badges to the right. As we can see here in this example, we have a monitor that has reached the maximum severity, which is an outage alert. Alerts gain more value if the right people are notified about them at the right time, so that corrective action can be done. This is where notifications come in. A monitor with defined thresholds can already fire alerts, but a notification group has to be first configured before anyone can receive notifications. The settings for notification groups can be accessed through the settings menu, and then select notification groups. A notification group allows you to define contacts that receive a defined type of notification. Contacts can either be an existing user using the registered email or mobile number, Slack integration, or a third party that uses a generic webhook integration. These are the types of notifications you can assign to a contact. You can send them new alerts, reminders, escalations, clears, new errors, and even regressed errors. A notification group can also be assigned to certain apps, or servers, or even resource monitors. Subscribing to errors for an app allows notifications for new and regressed errors. A minimum severity level can also be chosen so that only certain levels send out a notification. For example, a Tier 1 support notification group could receive all severity levels. And a Tier 2 group could receive escalated or notifications for more severe levels. So far, we've covered the details about monitors, alerts, and notifications in Retrace and how they work together. The key to maximizing their full potential is to set the right thresholds according to your needs. Benchmarking and getting a baseline of normal operating values from time to time is as crucial as setting these monitors up to ensure that alerts are fired up for the right reasons and are eventually set to the responsible persons. Retrace truly offers a holistic and flexible approach to your application monitoring needs. I hope this session was insightful on your part, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them in our chat box. Happy monitoring!
Come on.